This is Task Force 78. Their mission to explore, patrol, and protect Federation interests along Orion's belt and the Klingon neutral zone.
I've seen it listed online in several places as the Lead Harrison. But like I said, I had that model kit from AMT when I was a kid, and I thought, I want to build that. And it took me a while to find some good orthographic drawings of it so that I could put it in the blender and start building it. And once I finally found them, I did. I still haven't built the little shuttle that goes inside the hangar yet.
I'll tell you
but
what.
I have located the graphics for it, so I can do it as soon as I get around to it.
You can take styrene and glue and build anything you want to from that material. Get some flexible type styrene where you can flex where you want it, glue it, and where any shape you want it, and you can make just about anything with that stuff. Pretty cool. Heck, I built a Battlestar Galactica when I was a kid using that stuff. And it took me months to build it.
Yeah, I have a ship that I built when I was a teenager. It was a model, and I threw it together out of just anything I could find. I had ordered a record album from RCA Music Club, and the box it came in was a nice square box. I thought, I can do something with this. So that became the base, main hull of the ship. And then I had another box that I had for an extension. And then I had some pieces of styrofoam I used for the engine compartment. And I took parts and from my battleship models, the guns and everything, and the superstructures, and just tacked all kinds of stuff on it. And then a few years ago, I decided, well, I remember that model when I built when I was a kid. It was thrown away years ago, but I say I can build that again now in Blender, and I did. In fact, give me a second. I'll call it up and share the screen.
Okay. Another Battlestar Galactica I built it out of cardboard. And that was the easiest way to build something is out of cardboard. And cardboard and tape. And I built that thing. It was massive size. That thing was like 3 foot long. The landing bays were like that wide, like that. It was big. And I don't know whatever happened to that thing. But I was proud of it, though. Steve, you got that thing working?
Sort of. It's working on my phone, but it ain't working on my laptop. Yeah. I'm having T-Mobile issues. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can't get my video to work on my phone right this minute, but it was taking up too much bandwidth or something.
Yeah, I tell you what, AT&T had some major issues with their phones and services yesterday too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Today, but massive issues with their network. I have a feeling somebody hacked it.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right.
There were reports that there was a major hacking incident.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them.
Ian, are you cooking for us?
The silverware, I think, is Admiral Vandenbosch here.
Oh, is it?
No. Yes.
I see now. Okay, there
we're
you
all,
are.
We're all sitting at the Admiral's table now.
Mr. Roy, what are you chomping down on?
It's a roast.
Ooh.
It's pretty good.
Oh, he's making me hungry.
Carrots, green beans, corn.
Oh, he's making me
hungry. In a crock pot.
He'll definitely making me hungry.
So, Steve, I'm not seeing any way to really share my screen. I've gone through a few of the settings and it's not letting me show anything. I think it's because I don't have a camera. So
I got a button down at the bottom that says present. And that seems to be where the share screen thing is.
Right.
Okay, so
StreamYard under present.
Are you on a browser,
when I do this
Ian?
Now? Okay, I just tried to share a video.
There you go. I see something now. Hold on.
Okay.
As long as I'm connected on the laptop, I should be able to add it to the stage. Come on now. Add to stage already.
Okay. The problem is it'll accept video, but I can't do it with images, and all I have of the Hundley right now are images.
Strange. Yeah.
I use OBS Studio, and usually a lot of times I add like share desktop and usually do it that way. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah, it's not letting me add you. I don't know why. Kick me out again.
And what kind of video format do you guys generally work in?
MK4 if we can. MOV works. It just depends on the codec.
Yeah. MOV, when I did that, it's just with the default setting in DaVinci. I went through today and I can do the...
I guess you're still recording, Steve?
Yes, that was my intent. That way, if I get disconnected, at least I know what's going on. And I might be able to re-edit this as some kind of an interview. I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's your fail-safe to find out what's happening. Okay.
Part of it, it's kind of because of my connection issues and because of my technical background, I try to do a couple of fail-safe type of things.
It sounds like a bandwidth issue. That's what it sounds like.
It is. Yeah. All right, now, I see Straker is trying to share something.
Yeah.
All right, what's this?
That's the ship that I built. This area here, that was the old album box. I cut out part of it. And then this was another shipping box. And then this was the styrofoam that I used. And then I had just various parts. Now I've rebuilt it in Blender, so I've added a lot of other stuff that wasn't really part of the original model. This was originally like the superstructure of the battleship Iowa. I'm more modernized it in my Blender version.
And what was this built for, Ken?
It was just me doing for a lark. I built this, like I said, when I was a teenager.
Ah.
Oh, look at the guns on that sucker, too.
Yeah, look at that.
You got enough firepower.
Yep, that's the front view. And then this one is the top view.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, look at those guns.
She also was a fighter carrier because you can see she has 2 landing strips.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your stuff the other day, Ken, and it looked like you had integrated a couple of shots of things from The Expanse into some of your things, like a Martian dropship. Was I seeing things, or was it this?
If that's the bridge right there, that thing can also be as a emergency shuttle too.
Could be.
Look, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're referring to, Steve.
It was in one of those videos that you have different ships all mixed together. I can't remember it. I think it might have been one with the one of the battles that I had edited together. I'm not sure.
Now, I have a Rocinante from The Expanse, but that's the only one.
That's what it is then. That's what I'm saying. It looks like a Russian or a Martian dropship, and that would be Rocinante then.
But I've never used it. Like I said, I have the model, but I've never used it.
That's weird. In the background, I think it's in the shot where, you know, the clip. I've got the long clip where you've got the cargo ships and the Federation ships mixed together, and then you got a clip of the ships around the space station. It's in that section of things, I think. But I've been looking at so much footage lately, I get confused where I've seen things.
Oh, God, that makes so much sense right now. You guys say The Expanse. Think about that shuttle power sliding sideways across the space dock. It's a very Expanse maneuver. Yeah, it caught us off guard because you don't see it in Star Trek, but that's a very Expanse maneuver to just kind of slide that shuttle that way.
There was one shot I did of the space station K7 where I put the Starbug from Red Dwarf down in the hangar area.
I think I've seen that.
You have to look close to spot it, but it's there.
What's that in?
A little green ship. It's in the hangar area of the K7 space station, and one of the shots I did of K7. It's there in that one of the ships orbiting the station, and it's there in some of the shots I did of the station in my YouTube video.
That might be it too. I've seen the Starbug. I remember seeing Starbug.
But all the stuff that I've done for you so far has just strictly been Starfleet vessels. Except for that model of the Hawk sitting on Stahl's desk.
Yeah, I like that. Nobody's seen that yet. Yeah, I was looking for a way to share things, and I don't see. I'm on my laptop, so I'm not at my main station where I have all my files. We're working on so many things. There's a short that I'm going to need the Admiral Vandenbosch to do some video called Holiday Hours. You've seen the script there, Roy, where and you and I can work together on whether or not it's a dream, like you said. You had suggested it's kind of like A Wonderful Life, where you wake up and everything's fine at the end. But I got Captain Summers, who's Jason E., to film his part. And he was in a white room with a table or a desk in the background. And he's sitting in one of those gamer's chairs that has a camouflage pattern on the chair. So we're having trouble masking some of that stuff out. and it was just a dry run. But I really liked the way that he delivered his lines, so I wanted to use the footage. And we tried to integrate him into a ready room, and we tried to integrate him on the bridge. And Ken and I both agree he looks better on the bridge. So, we'll see what happens. But I'll get you that footage so you can at least see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to address that for Matt. One of the problems that I had with that footage that Steve was talking about was that he kept rotating back and forth in his seat.
Right. I told him he needs to sit on a stool or a bench.
You need in a mobile platform to sit on.
Right.
So, Matt, the next time you film scenes, if you have a stool or something that you can sit on instead of I know your recliner's comfy because mine is.
Well,
but for filming purposes, need something steady.
Yeah, this is about all I got is this chair here. I could probably just have to sit. I could probably have to slide it over and sit straight and kind of like this, where it won't show it as bad.
Yeah, that would work. Now, the previous scene where you walked into the scene and sat down, that worked. I didn't have any problem with that because you didn't swivel.
Yeah.
And it worked because I was able to position the camera so that the Burke chair that was in the virtual set, it looked like you literally just came in and sat down in the Burke chair.
Yep.
So it worked. It was great.
Yep.
But like I said, that scene that he was in, he kept swiveling back and forth, which I know it's hard to do hard not to do when you're sitting in a swivel seat. But it was driving me nuts trying to match up the scene because depending on what point in the video he's sitting, he's at a different angle.
Yeah.
And it made it worse because it wasn't a straight on view. He was filming from an angle like this. So when he would go like that, well, now he's at a different angle. And then he's like this. And then he's back like this again. And it's like, how do I match this?
Yeah.
Hard to do.
Now, if I knew the exact movements of the seat itself, then I could rotate the virtual seat to match. But like I said, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, the captain's chair on my virtual set is rotatable. But to match it frame by frame to the rotation of the real chair would be a bitch.
Almost impossible.
You need to pay a Pixar intern like a week.
Yeah.
That's a frame by frame job.
Yeah.
I don't have room. I don't have any budget.
I tell you how to cut this chair out. I probably could drop I do have something small, like green looking sheet. I could drop over behind it on this part, and you just cut that out entirely.
Yeah.
And it's just you'd be able to cut it out entirely by doing that.
Yeah. Well, Peter was able to do miracles by removing the background around you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I cut out quite a bit of it myself using what's that program? Which I ain't paying no monthly fee on it no more.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but I've got it too. Yeah, it's a free thing.
I was using that for a while, and I cut out a lot on mine, and cut out a bunch of that stuff, and it fell in pretty well. And it's a little hard. The new one is complicated. They changed so much in the new version of it, and I'm not an editor. I don't know nothing about that stuff. I used to write websites and PHP coding and stuff like that years ago, but other than that, I don't fool with it too much. I used to write code for the old FSD servers, Flight Simulator I don't know if y'all ever heard of BatSim and servers like that, virtual flight servers. That's stuff I'm used to doing.
Okay, Ian, there's your dancing girl.
Yeah, that was just a test file. I'm disappointed that it won't let me just upload a picture.
Oh, well, hey, I know. Yeah, I have trouble with the pictures too, and I don't know if it's the PNG format or what.
I think it wants PDF format, which that's kind of really restrictive. Like you would think StreamYard would allow PDF and JPEG.
Right.
It'd be so simple to show you guys a whole screen or a slideshow I have here, but I don't have a PDF file set up.
Let's see.
The pictures that I'm sharing are JPEGs.
How are you sharing them?
There's you're sharing. Are you talking about how am I showing it on the screen?
No, Ken was showing us JPEGs earlier of his ship. How are you doing that?
Oh.
You hit present, and then it says you click on share screen.
That's honey.
Then you select which window you want to share, and then when you have the JPEG pulled up, you select that window. It's easier if you got like a multi-screen setup like I have.
What I got this right here. I can go to scene 6 on my program here, and I can actually show my desktop and everything, which I use OBS Studio. Is what I use, and which pretty good. I go back to this right here. I can take it off of me. But I got that. I use OBS Studio to do things with mine. Like I just go here, click on this. That allows me to go to multi-screen, and I click right here. Go here, goes to the desktop. This is that Wondershare program that
That's it, Wondershare.
Yeah, and I've played with it. I'm not the best with this stuff. I've got a DaVinci Resolve 2, and I got some stuff on here that I mess with, but I'm not that good with it, with all this graphic stuff like you guys are. I get lost when it comes to that stuff. I'll be sitting there scratching my head. If I sat down and really probably think about it, I could probably end up doing it, but I got brain block, and it prevents me doing anything.
Hey, we're happy just to have you as the captain. What's this, Ken?
I got bored a couple months back, and I decided to model my Z800 computer.
Yeah, it looks a lot like mine.
And this is the early, and then...
What program are you using?
Blender.
Blender, okay.
Yeah, I showed somebody the office, the Admiral's office, and they're like, so, where is this set? And I said, in the computer. They're like, what? So yeah, it's in the computer. It's 3D. It's Blender 3D. It's not a real place.
Oh, Steve, remember I was telling you about my niece? She come by and seen me the other day. She's going to get in touch with those people down in that
Neutral
Zone Studios.
Yeah.
And she said she's going to contact them and see if me, her, and her husband can go down there and film a short little scene on the bridge down there.
Usually it works out. They have small groups that show up. Now, if you're on a busy weekend when it's they've planned something and they've got visitors like actors that were in the fan films, it might not work out.
Yeah.
So you see that's not a real place. This is Ken.
Yeah, this was my sister. They want to build me a entertainment center for my computers and everything. So I sat down in Blender and I designed it out to match the size of my monitors. And I put a little cubby hole there where I put the computer. And then I've got my 33-inch screen, my 43-inch screen, and my other 33-inch screen for the other computer. And then I added in areas for drawers and everything, and I incorporated the desk that I currently have into the design. So it's in there as well.
Not about accommodating my what I need. That's pretty good.
It's a pretty sweet setup.
They say they're going to build it for me.
There you go.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to it because this is going to be a sweet setup once they get it done. Because right now, I've got everything just crowded around here, and it looks like a junk pile.
Look at what I got in the back here. Mine's a junkyard back there behind me.
We don't want to talk about that. We had to take all that out. See this? This is Captain Summers. Now, you see the glitch?
Admiral,
that's just between cuts.
How is
you see once in a while you can see part of the chair or something that the mask couldn't grab.
Yep.
Holiday cheer. I didn't think Starfleet did Secret Santa.
Yeah, and the top left, he had a timestamp.
I couldn't agree more. It's also breaking out the champagne. And let's make it a memorable one, even though we can't be together in person. Well, that would allow to get some much-deserved holiday. Commander Stahl is probably going to be tweaking the engine. And Mr. Griffin is more than likely going to be down at the pistol range.
Yeah, sorry about the system glitch. But at least you can see him.
Things happen.
We'll be enacting holiday hours as soon as possible.
That's Crytek's bridge.
Will do. Thank you, Admiral.
Yes.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
On the left side behind him, the turbo lift indicator is pointed towards the comm, and on the other side it's pointed towards the comm. So it looks like there's a mistake, but there's not. It's designed that way on purpose. So the bridge or whatever, the bow of the ship is pointed towards comms console on both sides of comms. There's 2 turbo lift doors. Sorry I interrupted your video there. Ken, were you done on the presentation there?
Pretty much. This is pretty much the final design I've settled on. Except now that I've got the Z840, I went ahead and I did a feather redesign, but I haven't rendered out that yet because I had to have the Z800 and the Z840 up here. And now there's nowhere to put my old Dell 990.
Yeah, you need 3 computer slots.
Yeah, it's the orphan child now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. What it says. Stop looking at my screen. Got the finger pointing at you. That means you. That means you.
Looks like Ian wants to show something.
Yeah, I couldn't show any of the stuff for the Hunley, so this is the only VIDI file I have of a similar module. This is the module that Hunley is initially built off of, and essentially you take this and you expand it 125%, and you get like the Excelsior style bridge that I build. But this is the Nautilus, for those who haven't seen it yet.
I'm trying to get the darn thing to add to the screen, and I'm not getting it to work.
And on Crytek, the bridge, the blinky textures and so forth, are they GIFs, are they videos, or are they animated textures?
You talking about the console things?
Yeah, the blinky panels and so forth in the background on the bridge.
Those are image sequences that are animated.
They're image sequences that are animated in Blender or before Blender?
Well, they're rendered out in Blender, but I then assign them as texture files. And basically you assign an image strip as a texture file and then make it cyclic so that if the video lasts longer than the texture would last, it just cycles back to the beginning and just keeps going.
But it's only like 4 frames go over and over?
Actually, a couple of them are 90 frames because you have to have time for some buttons to fade and others to come on, and then I think like the swirly thing over Spock's station. That one is like I think it's 360 frames because I had to rotate the patterns over 360 degrees, and so by making it 1 frame increments, I made it 360 frames because according to the research I did, that was pretty much the time it took on the original set for them to rotate that one time. So I matched it closely as I could. So it took me 350 frames to render it out. But considering that it's just an emission, you can render it at 1 sample and it will look fine. So at 1 sample, you can render it in like 5 seconds. So the entire 360 frames took maybe 5 minutes to render out. And you save them as JPEGs, and then you go back and you select that little square and unwrap it for texture wise, and then assign it that texture sequence. So it will cycle through and you got your perfect animation.
Okay. So it's a texture sequence of images, but it's not a video file or a GIF.
No.
Okay. I was actually attempting to do like GIF files or video files. The view screen is a video file that I rendered in Blender. And as I told you the other night, I hand animated the blinky lights under the view screen. So, but yeah, I'm getting to that point where, like, as you see, like, the bridge looks cool, but everything is static. Nothing moves. So I've been trying to conquer animating all these graphics that I've been doing.
I'll tell you what you did on this right here, it's excellent.
Yeah, it looks good.
I tell you what, even the reflections on the panels and all that stuff is excellent. It's down to the detail.
It's a lot of flash and tricks and so forth that I use and so forth. It's a very simple material. This is Ivey here because I couldn't get cycles would have taken 14 hours or some bullshit like that to render this, and I only have one machine. So I did it in Ivey, but I turn on things like Bloom ambient occlusion, and I use a bit of the metal reflection and so forth to like kind of bounce light in little parts and so forth. But it's very simple trick. This is the original series bridge here. It's just I took the plans. I made the original series bridge based on a YouTube video. I gave it another turbo lift and different graphics and those little like lights at the top, the circle lights, you know. And it's a lot of cheap trick and so forth. The helm console is a very cheap trick and so forth. It's a cheap variation of a next generation kind of console. I never got that right, you know. Mm-hmm. And I repeat things. It's repeating patterns. But I was able to take this, expand it 125%, and you're able to get a cheap Excelsior bridge. One thing about the Excelsior in Star Trek 3, if you actually made that bridge the way it's shown, because it doesn't exist, it's just a couple panels in the back with a chair and a shot of Captain Styles. If you actually made it, it'd be the size of a basketball court. Bigger than Discovery. So.
Dang.
Okay.
I wouldn't know where to start with doing something like that. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I started by watching Ken. Like, I was using like pre-made assets and so forth and playing in Unity, and I started wanting to make stuff for myself. And like Ken was one of like the first person I saw that like built a whole fucking starship, and I'm like, I want to do that. So
I learned by watching Eric Reinhold's videos on YouTube.
Yes, and I started with his videos too. I dropped out though after like the fifth video. I didn't follow through the course. You're going to see I cheat a lot.
Yeah, well, the thing with Eric Reinhold, he was using Blender 2.79. So if you're trying to follow his tutorial using a later version of Blender, you're going to get totally lost.
Yeah. I went through 5 of those tutorials on certain things, the secondary hull shape and all that, and I used the Phase 2 tutorial for my nacelles, and then I started figuring it out for myself. That's when I went completely crazy and went, I'm going to go and build this thing inside out, deck for deck.
So you want to take
I did a lot of the interior of the engineering hull, but all I did was the rooms behind the windows up in the saucer. Mm-hmm. So the rest of the saucer I never bothered with, which I want to do the rest. I think I've got enough RAM now to handle it, but I started trying to do that when I was using my old Dell 990 with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm
only working with 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, well, I had a good part of Deck 7 and was starting to advance into Deck 6 following the original Franz Joseph plans, and I started running into memory issues. It was fighting me tooth and nail. Anytime I tried to make a change, it would just take forever.
Were you making it modular, or were you trying to make it one big thing?
I was trying to make it as one file.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was several different objects, but being massive like
that was taking a lot of resources.
Yeah, and plus the fact that I started running into issues trying to follow those plans, because like there are stairways on Deck 7 that when I ran the stairway up to Deck 6, well, according to the plans at Deck 6, that point is a blank wall. I thought, well, maybe it doesn't go up to Deck 6. Maybe it goes down to Deck 5. So I tried that. Nope, that didn't work either. Blank wall down there, too. I'm like, stairway to nowhere.
That's why I'm making my own ship.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 places on Deck 7, 6, or Deck 8, 7, 6, and 5 that just don't jive with each other. And I'm like, well, crap. That I either have to deviate from the plans or I just have to deal with the fact that they don't make any sense. Plus the fact that he did not make any allowance for the undercut on deck 7.
What are future generations going to do when they have to like build their like realistic Discovery interior where the shuttle bay flies through empty space for like 20 miles? We've got it easy.
Imagine about a couple hundred years from now building the actual thing in space.
That's the dream. Okay, just put me in cryogenic sleep until we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God,
That was a bad composite.
Yeah, Peter for some reason felt that you were too low in the screen, so he lowered my background and rescaled it. And I'm like, why did you do that? Because I had it matched perfectly.
Yeah.
But his eye was not agreeing with mine, and he thought that blue computer module was behind you in the scene.
Instead of next to you.
No, it's literally right next to him. But
his perspective's off.
Yeah, his perspective was totally wrong. It was driving me nuts trying to get it through to him that no, it was right the way it was.
I was having trouble with him with something like that with the captain.
Gentlemen, we'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
The original one, I think. I think I got that. I'm not really sure. Let me bring my program up here. Come on. I wonder if Cheryl want to be a pain in the behind tonight. Yeah, wants to do an update.
Of course it does. Windows is driving me nuts doing that stuff. There's some kind of a driver issue going on my HP. The Microsoft people think that I need a new driver for my video card, and everything's working fine. So why are you messing with the darn thing? And it's trying to download and install this along with a bunch of updates that Windows wants to give me that they call critical, and it'll download them all, and it'll say, okay, it's going to reboot now, and before I can say no, not now, it goes, okay, I'm rebooting, and it tries to install everything, and then it goes, it didn't work out, so we're going to undo everything. And 10 minutes later, I got back on my computer.
Windows has an issue with a file, the file size of the backup of your what they call the restore.
Oh, it might be. I may have too many restores there.
No,
I need to get rid of a couple.
The file size of it. So with the last update of Windows, they screwed that up. But in Windows 11, they don't have that problem. So they're having a problem with an update that's screwing up stuff. So I had to increase the file size of my of the partition of the recovery side of the stupid Windows, and I increased it to 1 terabyte and be done with it. And I ain't gonna worry about it no more. I don't have to worry about no more any issues with it.
What's this, Ken?
That ship right there, basically saying, "Don't mess with me. If you come in range, I'm gonna blow you out of existence." The firepower
looks like an aircraft carrier.
Kinda.
What's that platform in front?
Is that a gun?
Using it for a landing area.
No, there is a hangar in the front for landing. You approach directly from head on and fly into the hangar. You can
So
see
it's some kind of spacecraft.
Yeah, you can see the opening right there.
Oh, okay.
And there's another one down here.
landing bays.
Yeah.
And this is something you scratch built?
Yeah, originally, back when I was a teenager, like around 1978, 77.
Yeah.
It was shortly after Star Wars came out, and I was inspired. Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica, and I thought, oh, I'm going to build my own. And I'd read that how John Dykstra had basically scratch built the Galactica out of spare model kits and stuff. So
Right.
I used sprue from model car kits and my battleship parts and everything else, and and I got something. It was very similar to this. It wasn't exact because, like I said, when I rebuilt it in Blender, I made some modifications and changes and updated it.
You remember that series, Earthstar Voyager? That ship they had in it?
Earthsea?
No, it's called Earthstar Voyager. There's going to be a series probably in the early 80s or 90s, but it was canceled. Not even the first season. They didn't get to air it, and they canceled it right off the bat. Disney did.
Oh, it was Disney. That's why I didn't see it.
It was a decent episode. I did get to see it, but that was about the time when I think Buck Rogers and a few other ones that been aired and kind of got scrapped.
Yeah, anytime I get invested in a good science fiction series, they kill it.
Yep.
They don't care about our demographic anymore. We're too old.
Yeah.
Maybe not Ian, but everybody else.
No, I'm getting up there. Kids already called me old man.
I'll be 64 in April.
I'll be 55 in 29th of March.
I'm about to turn 61.
Like a friend of mine
so I am still somewhat young.
A friend of mine told me I'm old and dirt.
Our editor is actually older than we are. He's 1 year older than me.
I told him I don't care how long as I live a lot longer than I do now.
Which one's that? Is that Belle?
Yep.
Oh, kitty.
So, Admiral Vanden Bosch, what'd you think of Captain Summers? Jason.
I couldn't hear him too well. He looked good, and it should be interesting. And I obviously I've heard him talk a lot, on his shows, whatever else. So I think it'll be interesting. He'll bring some attitude to it.
I think so. Well, you've read several versions of the Xenocian Encounter, so imagine having him in that role that Roth decided not to do. And the different situations that are going to pop up, how things evolve so quickly on the bridge. I think he's going to really bring it home. He looks the part. He's got the right attitude. He's a perfectionist like most of us here are. So he kicks himself in the butt about, well, that line was bad. Let's do it again. So it's like watching Roy. When your videos that you send me, when you do something for us and you go, no, that ain't right. Let me go again.
I do it like this.
It's like watching others that are like us. He's right comfortably fit into the shoebox with the rest of us. So
now I just bought a green screen. It's a pain to put it up.
Yeah. Well, it's even bigger pain not to have it.
I got it in the box in there. The next problem is the lighting issue.
Right.
It's one thing after I got a 4K. I got a camera over in a box. The camera I bought is a 4K camera, but it's not the quality. The quality. I took it down there to record on our live gigs, and the audio quality was terrible.
Mm.
And I was so mad about the audio quality, I was about to take it and throw it against the wall.
Ouch.
And spend that kind of money for a piece of junk.
Oh, look at that!
I found a real easy one. It's like a projector screen
video, but this is the progression from a 23rd century to a 24th century ship.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the HL Hunley, it's basically the Miranda, but it starts out with phase 2 engines instead of the TOS engines. So you think of the Crytek and the way that it glows on the end. So it's got the oblong instead of roundish engines on it, but the nacelle, the Bizarre collectors are still red. And then when you're in the 24th century, they upgrade the engines to the TMP era. So, and the original bridge there, you had has only one captain's chair, right?
Yes.
Yes. And see, that's perfect because the original TOS and phase 2 era, even the TMP era, they only had a captain's chair. So,
yeah, and I'm going to hand off a Blender file to you guys. So, like, you'll literally be able to move the furniture around, different shots. The chairs are not mine. They are Falk 2019. I paid for them from CG Trader. I have the license and everything for them, so should be good on that. They're wonderful chairs, though, and I highly recommend if, like Falk ever offers assets, buy them. They're wonderful.
They look great.
Yep.
And see, that looks real to me. I don't know how you did it. I don't know if it's a combination of textures and lighting or what, but to me,
textures are so simple, though. Not using any for most of the textures, I'm not using any roughness maps or anything like that. It's basically just nodes in Blender, the steel, the alcove, the emission lighting. I am using a very simple map for carpet, though.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And then, of course, the visuals, the graphics. It's just all about how you pile these patterns on top of each other. The next gen just had those colors and those shapes and those buttons and so forth. If you scroll back to the 23rd century, it's more that border outline, what they call an acutogram.
Right.
Because it was Michael Akuta, and I think he started around like Star Trek 4. He came up with those graphics and the presentations, and they called them acutograms through Star Trek 4 through Star Trek 6. A lot of those like round interface things, because that was like one of his initial pitches.
Yes.
But then it evolved into LCARS with the next gen, where it was that system of like those curved shapes, and so forth. And you built every interface off that curved vector shape. And you just altered the color template a little. It's not all bullshit, though.
Looks fantastic.
The graphics are not bullshit. Like if you zoom in on a back screen, you'll see the like weight and the class of the starship and so forth, the measurements. We went through in Facebook chat and we were talking about that.
Right.
When we were talking about the Starfleet Technical Manual, I applied that to Crytek, Miranda, Columbia, and
And the Hunley.
Hunley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the screens, the waveform is a piece of music that I wrote. You know, the information above the screen and the waveform identifies what it is and so forth. The planet is a planet that's rendered in Blender, and then the information at the top. So like if you look at these things, they make sense. If you look at the control panels, they're all an interface I put together based on the screens that made sense. So it's not bullshit, sir. It's
Right.
bullshit that can actually make sense. Like if you look at the warp diagram, you know, like it shows a warp core that's like running at optimal efficiency and so forth. You know,
Right.
like if like it's a, you know, like it has to go, like I'll do a graphic where like the parameters are actually in the range that the warp core is about to go critical per se. So I do try and put that level of detail in there.
And I appreciate that you went back and did the appropriate engineering graphics for a 1-engine ship and a 3-engine ship, whereas you know you had 2-engine ships already. But we've got a mix and match of ships so that they can be easily identified on screen. And if you get disoriented, but you're on a bridge, you can tell by the graphics on the screens on the bridge where you are, if not the color of the bridge that it's showing up, or the design is a little different. Everything works together.
The trick is building template systems. And I mean, Ken knows this. He built his Constitution, but then, you know, he takes that, you know, like saucer section, and he was able to build off of that the ships themselves, you know, and
Right.
so forth.
The
You build
Columbia,
asset libraries.
my Ptolemy variant, my Federation class dreadnought. They basically all been based on the same saucer.
It looks beautiful.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
Now I did make a few minor changes for Crytek. I think I changed the impulse deck a little bit, and I cut an access hatch into the underside of the saucer for that one animation where you can see the
I love that animation.
going into the door, and then the hatch closing up behind him.
Yeah, that's like a perfect image, actually.
What is that? Uh-oh.
Wasn't me.
Somebody got a phone call, huh?
Either that or somebody just got hacked, because I heard a camera click too.
Oh, that was me. I don't know. It decided to play a commercial. I don't know if it was Streamlabs or what.
That's
I was
fine.
just adjusting my camera view, as you saw, was a little out of phase.
Are you on your phone or a laptop?
I'm using my computer, but my my phone is my
Sound.
is acting as my camera.
Gotcha.
All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm tired.
Okay.
Enjoyed it. I gotta get up early in the morning too. Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
You too. It was nice seeing you.
It's good to see all of y'all too. Y'all see y'all next time.
Have a good
All
evening.
right.
Take